Anatomy and Kinesiology, Analysis of client NicoleHutchinson. My first slide consists of his posture analysis, the anterior and posterior view. I've got green dots and red lines and green lines indicating his good posture and his bad posture. I've also put the plumb line straight down the middle so you can see the symmetry within his body. For the anterior view first, his head's forward, his shoulders are nice and stable, they're a bit protracted, the pelvis is rotated anterior, there's a bit of an anterior tilt there. His knees, genuvarum, the left knee has a medial rotation, you can see on the slide. His feet are pointing outwards, which is an eversion. For the posterior view, again the head is centred, there's no tilt to the right or the left. The shoulders are nice and balanced. The scapulars are protracted, right and left. The left scapula is depressed slightly, you can see on the picture on the right. The pelvis, again, is rotated anterior. There's a little bit of a tilt there. The femur there's a bit of lateral rotation in the right and the left femur. The knees, again, genuvarum, right and left knees, and then the feet are protracted, right and left, pronated. With the next slide, we have the lateral view of the posture analysis again. The head comes forward, you can see that in the picture on the right. His shoulders are back in line with the plumb line, that's fine. His hips, again, anterior tilt. You can see lumbar lordosis here in the bottom of the spine. His knees are slightly flexed with his hips. The left knee is laterally flexed. The ankles, the right ankle looks neutral in the picture, and the left ankle is plantar flexed, more at the toes. For my primary movements, I have chosen jump and throw. Here is a clip of the jump. My client is doing it anterior and lateral view. We'll look at that one again. So, when I analyse it, at the start of the jump, the head is leaning forward, the chest is following the head, leaning forward. The hips are neutral with a slight anterior tilt. The knees are bent, ready to exert maximum force, ready to jump high in the air, and the weight is forced onto the toes, plantar flexion again, as we saw in the previous slides. In mid-jump, the head is forward, yet again, the chest and the shoulders are protracted, as the arms swing right around, as we saw on the full clip. The hips are pushed back, the knees are bent, tucked in nicely, and the toes are pointed down. Coming to the end of the jump, we have the head still forward, still focused, the arms are bent, but by his side now, they've come full circle. The shoulders still protracted, we can see that. The hips are pushed back. The right knee is slightly forward, and again the toes, there's all the weight on the toes. The feet are pronated again, there's no dorsiflexion in there. All the weight is pushed on, there's no balance there. We come to the second exercise, the throw. So we watch this quickly again. As I analyse it on the next slide, the start of the throw, we have the head leaning back this time, not forward. It's still facing forward, but slightly back into the spine. The left arm is forward, directing to where the javelin is supposed to go. The torso is twisted and the right arm is all the way right back. The right side is slightly depressed. His back arm should be straight as he throws the javelin. It's bent. The hips are slanted. The left side is higher than the right, indicated on this slide. The knees are slightly bent for more stability and balance, and the feet are shoulder width apart, plantar flexed. I would say the client should have his feet one firmly in front of the other. Mid-throw, their head is twisted, depressed to the left, so it's on a tilt. The torso is twisted right the way round. The left side of the hip is slightly back and the right side is up and slightly forwards. We can see that firmly on the slide. The knees are flexed and slightly bent when they come in and out of the throw. And again, the feet are together, the right foot is plantar flexed. I have a few weaknesses for the jump and the throw. For the jump, I'd say the weakness, little use of the hamstrings, and the glutes here not shown. There's not a 90-degree angle within this. The weight is all shuffled onto the toes, plantar flexed. A strength for the jump would be the height he uses. He uses his arms, swings right the way round to get the leverage to get up. Within the throw, I'd say his weakness would be his feet that I pointed out earlier. They're not together, which allows no range of movement for the hips or the pelvis, as we've seen here. His right leg should be directly in front, should be the leading leg, nice and strong. A strength for this throw would be an action of the throw. It's followed through directly to allow maximum force, so the javelin went a long way. This is aided by the deltoids and the latissimus dorsi. As we continue onto the end of the throw, the head is nice and forward, the shoulders are balanced, his arms directly by his side now, still a bit bent, the hips are level, his knees are nice and straight, slightly bent backwards on the left leg. Again, the feet are together, still plantar flexed. Throughout the movement, these have been like this. Now we move on to FMS movements. I have chosen the squat and the inline lunge. With the squat, I'll just show you this with the anterior and lateral view. The analysis of the client's squat. We have the head stays forward throughout the start, mid and finish of the squat. We have the arms directly above his head holding the dowel. The arms come slightly forward mid squat, so as he goes down the arms come forward and the upper torso and the back lean forward. We have the lumbar back curves inwards slightly. His hips do not allow a 90-degree angle. As we've said in the previous exercises, this relates to this exercise again. The feet are plantar flexion again. All his weight's on his toes. You can see his heels lift up in this picture directly. I have in the next exercise the inline lunge. We can see these clips. The analysis of the inline lunge. Again, his head is nice and forward, nice and firmly straight. His upper torso leans slightly forward, not too much. You wouldn't recognise it if you weren't going over the footage over and over again. The hips show an anterior tilt, once again, as we said in the previous exercises. The leading leg, his knee is not in line with his toes. It's more forward, as it should be in line. The trailing knee touches the floor. This is good, but the trailing knee should be directly behind the heel of the front foot. And again, we see plantar flexion in the leading foot. Again, the heel should be nice and firm on the ground, but it's not. This is one of his weaknesses that he's shown throughout. As regards to the deep squat of the FMS movement, we have the analysis scores. I would give my client a 2. The upper torso should be parallel with the tibia. It's not, it should be. The femur is below horizontal. The knees are aligned over the feet, as I've said before, and the heels are elevated. There is plantar flexion in that foot. With regards to strengths and weaknesses for the squat, the hamstrings won't allow the full movement of the squat. Here, he should be getting right down. Therefore, the quadriceps are overcompensating. With another weakness, the plantar flexion of the foot, as I said over and over again, his heels must remain on the floor. His hamstrings, as I said before, his arms come forward, which could lead to straining of the upper back. Again, the hips aren't allowing the 90-degree angle. This is causing more muscles to overcompensate on everything. The knees pass over the toes, as I've said before. This shouldn't happen. This should allow your abs to be retained tightly and your spine to align in straight alignment. The feet are turned outwards and they should be nice, firmly pointed forwards. This should not happen. Analysis scores for the inline lunge. I would give my client a score of 2. The dowel contact is maintained throughout the movement. It's nice and straight. It doesn't twist right or left. The dowel remains vertical. It's really good. There's a slight torso movement. I wouldn't say too much. He doesn't come really further forward with his torso. It remains nice and straight. His knee touches the floor, again, as I've said, but it's not directly behind the leading foot. The weaknesses would be the plantar flexion of the foot, again, and his hips with alignment with his glutes. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.